All right, let's practice factoring. I'm proud of you that you want to do extra work to try to figure this out by working through it, knowing your times tables. Number one, let's do it together. Then you should press pause. So 63 and 16. What two numbers multiply to 63? We have to know our times tables. So 9 times 7 is 63, and they add to 16. Two parentheses, both start with M. One's going to be positive 9, one positive 7. Press pause. See if you can find the two numbers that multiply to 18 and add to 11. If you're going to practice, you got to press pause and practice. So 9 times 2 is 18, and they add up to 11. Two parentheses, one is positive 9, one's positive 2. Again, extra practice here. Negative 40 and negative 3. Because 40 is negative, we're subtracting. So two numbers that multiply to 40 and subtract the 3. So 8 times 5, that subtracts to 3. The bottom number is negative, so the bigger number is negative, the smaller number is positive. Two parentheses, start with R, so one's minus 8 and one's plus 5. Press pause, try. Two numbers that work here, positive 10 and negative 1, and go plus 10 and minus 1. Nothing replaces practice. Press pause and try it. Two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7. That's 4 and 3. Two numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to 1. So that's 4 times negative 3, and 4 take away 3 is 1. Two parentheses. One's positive 4, one's negative 3. 90 and 19, again, press pause. The two numbers are 10 and 9. If you're going to practice, we got to practice, like without me. Like you're going to have to try it, then press play. I need two numbers that multiply to negative 36. Because the top number is negative, it's going to subtract. Those two numbers are 9 and 7. The bottom number is negative, so the bigger number is negative, smaller one's positive. Oh, I got these mixed around. Minus and plus. Again, press pause, set it up, find the two numbers that work. So two parentheses, that's plus 8 and plus 3. Again, set this up, press pause. Two numbers that work, that multiply here. That's 10 times 8 and add up to 18. That's an A. Keep going. Keep practicing until you got this. Two parentheses. Those two numbers are 10 and 1. Press pause. Those two numbers are going to be 8 and negative 1. They multiply to negative 8. Add to 7. Alright, turn the page. Again, you should be practicing and then seeing if you did them right. So negative 10 times negative 2 is 20, and they add up to negative 12. Two parentheses, one's negative 10, one's negative 2. Again, the top number is negative, so you're subtracting. That's 9 and 3, and that's going to be positive 9 and negative 3, so it adds up to 6. So one parentheses is positive 9. The other one is negative 3, negative 12 and 4. Those two numbers are 6 and negative 2. Again, copy me is not doing anything. You got to press pause and try it first. Draw an X, organize the numbers. What numbers multiply to 7? For this to fit, 7 is positive and 1 is negative, so they multiply to negative 7 and add to 6. So 1 is positive 7 and 1 is negative 1. 35 and 12. Press pause. So 7 times 5 is 35, and they add up to 12. If you are frustrated with your times tables, we just got to work on our times tables. You need to know what multiplies to 35. We need to know what multiplies to 8 and subtracts to 7. So 8 times negative 1, 8 take away 1. It fits. So positive 8 and negative 1. Negative 72, and the number you don't see in the middle is 1. These numbers are 9 times negative 8, and 9 take away 8, so that's positive 9 and negative 8. Again, the number on top and the bottom, practice. So what two numbers multiply to 5 and add to negative 6? So one's negative 1, one's negative 5. All right, starting at 21, these are a little different. All right, 20. Let's not do 21. 21, I'm gonna avoid. So we're just gonna avoid it. And even 22, I'm gonna avoid. What are we doing? So number 23. Let's see the ones I want to do. Oh wait. Okay. So for number 23, the first thing I'm gonna do is factor out a common factor. I'm just gonna do it. So I'm gonna factor out a 2. That gives me divide by 2. Then what's inside the parentheses, I'm going to factor. So those two numbers are negative 10 and 3 that multiply to negative 30 and add to negative 7. Again, I'm going to factor, I'll just do it. Factor out a 4m, divide by 4. What is that, 70? Right? No, it's too big. Just 284. That's 27. All right, so the two numbers that multiply to 27 and add to 12 are 9 and 3. So we write down 9 and 3. Turn the page. Again, I'm going to factor out what they all have in common. 6 goes into everything evenly. So 6 times negative 8, 6 times 7. So inside the parentheses, two numbers that multiply to 7 and add to negative 8. So that's negative 1 and negative 7. Again, factor out a 5, divide. 5 into 80 might be a little tricky, but 16. So two numbers, press pause, that multiply to 16, add to negative 10. So negative 8 and negative 2. All right, this one is where you take the first number times the last number and the one underneath, and then find two numbers that multiply to 100 and add to 29. So 25 times 4 quarters, is 100, and it adds up to 29. So I use those numbers, 25 and 4. Then I divide by the first number. So 25 divided by 5, and slide the denominator in front, and you have your factors. Let's try this again. So 3 times 8. Now press pause and negative 10. What two numbers fit? So it's negative 6 and negative 4, multiply to 24, add to negative 10. So I'm going to go negative 6 and negative 4. And then I'm going to divide by 3, the first number. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 4 divided by 3 is a fraction. Take the denominator, slide it in front, and you have your factor. 2 times 15 is 30 and 11. Find the two numbers that fit, that multiply to 30 and add to 11. So we're going to write down 6 and 5. Then I'm going to divide by 2. So that gives me 3, and then slide the 2 in front, and that gives me 2v plus 5. Again, 5 times negative 3, 2. Find the two numbers that fit. Press pause, right? Try. So one is positive 5 and one is negative 3. Divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 3 divided by 5 is a fraction. Take the denominator, slide it in front, and you got it. Again, 3 times 4 and 8. Find the two numbers that match, the pair that works. 6 times 2 and 6 plus 2. So I go 6 and 2. Then divide by 3. So I have 6 divided by 3. And then 3k plus 2, and it's done. 3 times negative 20 and 11. So that's 15 and negative 4. Multiply to negative 60, add to 11. So I'm going to go 15 and negative 4. Divide by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 4 divided by 3 is a fraction. Take the denominator, slide it in front. All right, press pause. Try number 33. The two numbers here are 15 and 2. So we write down 15 and 2. Divide by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. The second number is a fraction. Slide the 5 in front, and there you go. Press pause and try it. That's negative 20 and negative 1. That's negative 5 and 4. So what was that? B. So B minus 5, B plus 4, divide by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. This is a fraction. Slide it in front. Again, press pause. 5 times 12 and 23. So 20 times 3 adds up. So that's 20 and 3. Divide by 5. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. 3 over 5 is a fraction. Slide the denominator in front, and you have it. Press pause. Write down the next one here. Do it. First number times the last number. Two numbers that multiply to negative 20 and add to 8. That's 10 and negative 2. So we write down 10 and negative 2. Divide by 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2. 2/5 is a fraction. Take the denominator, slide it in front. Next page. All right, so the next page has 4 terms. So how do we practice with 4 terms? We only look at the first 2. What do they both have in common? So 8 goes into both evenly, and they both have at least 2 x's. Divide, and that's x plus 6. X plus 6, the only thing they both have in common is 1. X plus 6. The factor that repeats, write it down. And then what's in front of each parentheses, write down, and it's over. This is factoring by grouping. Look at the first 2. What's the largest number that goes into both evenly? And look at the algebra. So it's 7a squared. Divide. 21 divided by 3, and it needs an a. 28 divided by 7 does not need an a. Look at the next 2, last 2. What goes into both of them? Negative 5. Divide. This should match, right, when you divide. So the factor that matches, and then what's in front of each factor, and now it's factored. Press pause. You need to try this. So 6n squared, divide. The next one is 7. Divide. And then the factor that matches, and then what's in front of each factor. Again, look at the first 2. So what goes into both? And then factor. What goes into both? And then factor, divide. Notice, what did I do here? This is a minus 3. Notice these both match. 2k, subtract 3, and then what's in front of each parentheses is the second factor. Again, press pause. You have to do it on your own first. So the first 2, only p, 1p squared, divide, gives me 5p plus 7. Here, negative 1, and then you're left with 5p plus 7. So 5p plus 7, and then p squared minus 1. If you want to, p squared subtract 1 is a difference of squares, so you would square root each one and get p plus 1, p minus 1. That's fully factored. Here, almost went into the next question. First 2 terms, 2b squared, divide, that's 6b plus 7. The next 2, 5, again that's 6b plus 7. So we have 6b plus 7, 2b squared plus 5. Done. What do they both have in common? 3, right? 3x squared, that's 8x minus 5. This is a 5. That's 8x minus 5. So that's 8x minus 5, 3x squared plus 5. You have to do it on your own. So the first 2, is 3x squared, divide. The last two, negative 7. Again, that's 3x plus 2. So that's 3x plus 2, 3x squared minus 7. Look at the first two. What number goes into both evenly? That's 5, and then the algebra. They both have at least 2 x's. Divide. 35 divided by 5 is 7, needs an x. 10 divided by 5 is 2, does not need any x's. It's been factored out. The last two, what number goes into both is 6. Divide, and you again get 7x plus 2. That's how it works. So 7x plus 2, and then 5x squared plus 6. Keep going. Factor out, that's 6b squared, divide 6b plus 1. The only thing that goes into both of them evenly is 1. So we have 6b plus 1 and 6b squared plus 1. Keep going. Bell rang, but I'm going. What goes into both is 2k squared, divide. Again, you should press pause and always do it first, and then check to see, did you do it correctly? You know if you did it correctly, if it works, that this factor is shared, and then the second factor is what's in front of each parentheses. Look at the first two. 7x squared, divide. That's 8x plus 3. Look at the next one. That's negative 12. No, negative 8. Sorry. Divide, and you get 8x, of course, plus 3, right? Because that's how it's going to work. So we have 8x plus 3. We have 7x squared minus 8. Turn the page. I'm almost back. Yay, I'm factored out. That is it. Mr. G Math over and out. Practicing. And practicing first and then watching the video. I am proud of you. Mr. G Math over and out.